for even small jobs, you guys make sure that you make a material and tool list so you can get everything you need for even the smallest of jobs before you leave to go to the job site. Because if you don't, you will forget something like I did. And then my wife showed up and as I was leaving and completely threw me off my game because she had some questions and wanted to talk about stuff, and I completely forgot like 4 different things because I didn't have a list. Anyway, we are about to get started with a very small garage build for a client, and it's gonna be really simple, so I'm gonna show you how to do it next.
Just hit a button, Morty, give me a beat.
Oh man, okay, all right,
Free my soul, just let it go. I wanna roam on my own, just let it go. Free my soul, just let it go. I cause a storm when I'm at home, just let it go.
Sipping in the sea, I don't know what this means. Spilling liquor all over my jeans. Who would've known I'd be battling a fiend? Is this my fate in this hip-hop scene? High like a kite, but I'm down on my knees. Battling enemies on my nightmare dreams. Open my eyes as I stare at screens. Hope in my lies, I believe by machines. Know when my crowds are playback scenes. No one feeling that pain that proceeds. Killing or murder don't make me better. Teenage mutant, I'm more like Shredder. Cheese in my pocket, I call that cheddar. 9 on my waist, I call a go-getter. I cut the string.
Okay, so I'm here in the garage for clients. It's a small 1-car detached garage for a condominium association, and he just wants a couple shelves and somewhere to store his bike. He's just got a few things he wants to get up off the floor before he completely moves in. And I'm just gonna show you today how to build a simple shelving unit and hook for a bike. You've seen some other videos that are similar to this. I'm just gonna run through quickly on this one, kind of how to set it up, how to secure everything to the wall. You can see this is a finished garage for fire code purposes and because the builder wanted to do this so it looked nice inside. So I'm working on top of drywall like you would anywhere else. It just doesn't have any texture to it. So you can see all the seams where they've screwed the drywall into structure, into the framing. And really I can see most of where those studs are. However, I'm going to use a stud finder just to make sure I can find the center of each one of these studs, because as you can see the tape and mud is on here, it still doesn't dictate to me exactly where the middle of that stud is. And I want to make sure I get right on the meat of that thing so I can secure everything nicely and have everything set up so nothing comes pulled off the wall, right? So I'm gonna show you how to do that using the stud finder, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting everything down. I've cut the 2 pieces of stock for the shelving in my shop and brought them over here, but I've got some framing lumber as well. I'm gonna assemble kind of a mishmash of 2 things. So let's get started with this. Okay, this is one version of a stud finder, and basically the way to use these things are almost very similar in all different brands. Is I'm gonna take the stud finder itself and I'm gonna place it against the wall. Okay, and then I'm gonna hold the power button until it beeps and flashes. That means it's calibrated. Then I can release it on this one in particular and hold it down again. And now I can go into what's called a deep scan. So like in any area where I have material that's deeper than traditional 1/2-inch drywall per se, like in this case we have 5/8, I wanna go into a deep scan to make sure I can still pick up all the framing members and find their centers. So once I'm in that, then I'm gonna either move it across the surface left or right, not lifting it up until I actually can read on here. It'll tell me where center is. It'll tell me if I'm on the edge or if I need, which way I need to go to get to the closest framing member itself, okay? So what I'm gonna do is the same thing. I'm gonna stick it on here, hold power button, I'm calibrated, quickly release, put it back on. I'm in a deep scan now. I can move it left or right so I can pick up my framing members. Okay, so you can see it's beeping at me now. It's screaming at me really. So that's means center. I'm gonna take my little notch right here. I'm gonna mark it. See, we've got an arrow right here. There's center of my stud, okay? I'm gonna continue down the wall to make sure that I can mark where I want that framing, every framing member to be attached for the shelving. And then once I have all my marks, I can figure out the actual length of my shelf that I want, and then I'm gonna start cutting everything and assembling and then nail it all up.
You can see the world the way it really is. Always.
box to actually put the other shelf on. It's going to go on the other wall. It's going to be reinforced a little bit better for some more things to be put off the floor. So what I'm doing is I'm actually measuring and cutting. I've got a 49-inch piece I've cut here at 12 inches deep. So I'm going to take my two 2x4s to make the outsides of the boxes to make it nice and strong, and then I'm going to cut my individual, basically my cripples in between, if you're understanding framing terms, my little pieces in between to form up that box. And the quick math on that is, if I got 12 inches end to end here, I actually want to make the box just an inch short of that, so the shelf will sit proud. I've got to figure out the distance for my cripples. Well, if I've got 1.5 inch 2x4 on each end, that's a total of 3 inches right there that I'm going to take off. And if I'm going to do 11 inches and not 12 inches, I got to do another, well, I'm going to have a 1/2 inch overhang. So if I'm going to do that, then I've got to take my 3 inches minus another 1/2 inch. I'm going to be at 8.5 inches for my cripples. That gives me that little bit of overhang, that 1/2 inch overhang that I want. Sorry, I said inch. And I have a full 12-inch shelf to go on the front. And everything's cut up, so I have a slight overhang on both sides. So what I'm going to do now is cut my cripples at 8.5 inches. I'm going to have one here, and I'm going to put one in the middle, so I'll have a total of 3 cut at 8.5 inches, and then I'm going to nail everything up. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to have a little bit of overhang on each side. Decided on 1 inch, so I'm going to have 1 inch each side overhang. So I'm going to go ahead and set my combo square. If you guys don't know what a combo square is yet, you can go back to my other videos and check that out. I'm going to set it right at 1 inch, lock it in place. I'm going to make sure I have both ends squared up at that inch, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my finish screws. I'm going to screw down through my framing, lock it in place. We're all done. Last thing I have to do is set a little 2x4 up with a hook to hang the bike, and he is set and ready to go in his garage. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this down and move on to the hook.
Yo, step to my click and get overrun. The weight on my shoulder feels like a ton. This is all I want, fuck a one-on-one. This termination, notification, vibration, create a creation that has nothing to do with religion. It's all part of an intricate system.